My name is Hannah Landers. I'm the Assistant Director of Career Services here in the Pamplin College of Business. We're going to talk a little bit about virtual career fairs today and some of our top tips for success at these virtual events. And then we'll also show you a little bit behind the scenes of Brazen, which is our virtual career fair platform that we use here at Virginia Tech. All right, so hopefully you guys have heard of our Pamplin virtual internship and career fair coming up. It is taking place this Wednesday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. again on Brazen. We definitely recommend registering ahead of time if you can. This QR code on the screen will take you directly to registration. You need to have an account in Brazen and be logged in and ready to go in order to utilize this event. So we recommend getting registered now or in advance so that you can make sure you're all set before the career fair starts. A couple of things I want to reiterate about this event. This is open to all majors. This is open to all class levels. We have companies who are seeking internships as well as full-time and externships on this event. We also have a large majority of companies at this event who did not attend Business Horizons. So even if you attended Business Horizons, if you are actively seeking a position, we strongly recommend going ahead and attending this event as well. You will see some familiar names of companies who attended Business Horizons. So if you made a connection with them at Business Horizons, it would be a really great idea to stop by, say hi, and kind of keep that connection warm. All right, so very quick overview of our team, Pamplin Career Services, and what we do. We are the dedicated career team for the College of Business. So we work specifically with the College of Business students. We offer a lot of different services, obviously things like this virtual career fair, Business Horizons, additional events. We're also available to talk with students one-on-one. So I have a link here, a QR code to our website. If you have any questions about this virtual career fair, about future events, internships, resume review, anything of that sort, please feel free to reach out to our team. Information on our website about how to get connected and how to book an appointment. All right, so we're going to jump right in. This workshop today is designed to be kind of a quick workshop between the other things you have going on today. So if you have any questions at all while I'm talking, please feel free to throw your question in the chat and I will answer any and all questions at the end of the workshop. So starting off with some things you can do before the virtual career fair to set yourself up for success. Number one is to identify a quiet space. You want to make sure that you have somewhere that you will not be distracted yourself and also that the recruiters will not be distracted. If you're on a video chat, you don't want a lot happening behind you that they can see. You also want somewhere with good lighting so they can see who they're speaking to. You remember that this is a virtual event, but it's also a career fair. So this is going to be your first impression, most likely with many of these companies. So just taking the time to get yourself set up, have a good space is really, really important. Another thing to think about is setting your computer up to be at the same height as your eye line. So you can see my camera right now is kind of looking right at my eye line as I'm speaking to you all. Really try to keep this in mind. A lot of times when we talk with students on appointments, we see the cameras kind of set up to be, down low, or maybe they have multiple screens like I do today and you're looking off camera a lot. So just make sure that you set your laptop maybe up onto books or a box or just something to make sure that your camera angle is going to be really professional. We also recommend logging into Brazen before the event. Brazen recommends using Chrome, so we're going to recommend that as well to kind of get tested, make sure all of your settings, your sound and your microphone are all good to go before the event. You definitely don't want to be scrambling when someone invites you into a video chat to make sure everything is working. So just make sure you log in and test all of those functions prior. A couple of things we do not recommend with the virtual career fair. Number one is using your phone to access this event. Again, this is a career fair, although it's a virtual event, so we want to make sure we're putting our best foot forward. Using your phone is not going to allow you to see all of the different features within the platform. It will certainly make chats and video chats more difficult, so we strongly, strongly recommend finding a little space and setting up with your laptop. We also recommend not moving your computer around. This is something, again, I see a lot on appointments. It makes the viewer a little bit seasick, right? So just make sure you're keeping your laptop really stationary in that setup that you have that hopefully you set up a few days before or the morning of the career fair. All that being said, a common question that I hear about virtual career fairs with Brazen is, will this be a text or a video chat? So when you enter a chat with a recruiter, you're going to be automatically connected via text chat, and the recruiter will have the option to invite you to a video chat. So keep that in mind. Again, this is a career fair, so make sure you're dressed professionally, at least where you'll see on the camera, in case a recruiter invites you to a video chat. You definitely don't want to be in a situation where we're declining video chat, that's going to be a little awkward. So just make sure you're prepared if a recruiter wants to chat with you via video. All right, another aspect that we want to look at before the career fair is your resume. So we have a lot of different resources available to you all. On this slide here at the bottom right, I have a link and a QR code to our resume resources site. This is going to include information about our templates, which you can see a sample right here. It'll have information about what should be included, frequently asked questions, and also some information about resume review. So if you need any help with your resume before the career fair, please don't hesitate to reach out and jump on our website to see more of what we have offered there. Your resume will be a required part of your registration on the career fair. So when you register in Brazen, it will require that you input your resume in order to participate in the event. Once you have that uploaded, once your registration is uploaded, recruiters can actually search for your information and then download that information. So once your resume is in there, it's fair game for recruiters. So make sure you have it reviewed, make sure you have it up to date before you complete your registration and before you put that into Brazen. All right, so last slide for before the virtual fair. Prepare and research is such an important step before a career fair. You want to make sure you're aware of what companies are going to be at the career fair so that you can go in with a little bit of knowledge beforehand and kind of know which companies you want to be talking to and what kinds of questions you might want to ask. So this QR code is one way that you can do that. This takes you directly to our attending companies list. That list can also be found on our website and also within the event itself. Another way you can find our attending companies is to register and browse the lobby itself. You'll be able to see all the booths that are set up and all the companies that are going to be in attendance. The attending companies list has a little bit more information as far as what majors they're looking for and what class levels. So I recommend checking that out as well. But registering in advance and browsing the lobby is another really great way to see what companies you might want to talk to. I always recommend making a game plan for which companies you want to visit. You know, have a couple of your top companies that you know you want to talk to. But I also always say to be open-minded on the flip side, right? Because I hear so many stories of students who get their first job from a company that they had never heard of. They just happened to be looking in their booth, saw some things they were interested in, and then decided to chat with the company on a whim and ended up working there. So be open-minded. If you see a company that you haven't heard of that you're interested in, definitely stop by their booth. One of the really big advantages of a virtual career fair is that you have Google kind of accessible at all times. So if you see a company that you're interested in, just stop, do a couple of minutes of research, and then jump in their booth and chat. Another question I get asked a lot is, should I wait to apply to positions after I talk to them at the career fair? Short answer is no. You should apply now or as soon as you know that you're interested. What a great icebreaker to be able to say to a recruiter, hey, I'm actually really interested. I already applied to your position. Can you tell me a little bit more about the culture? You know, whatever questions you might have. It's a really great way to show your interest and start a conversation with that recruiter. If you don't get to apply before the career fair, it's no big deal. You can apply right after, but this is a really great thing to do beforehand if you have some time and you know you're interested in specific companies. Something else you want to do before the career fair is to look out in your email for scheduled chat invites. So this is a Brazen specific feature. Companies, I mentioned, can search for all of your information, for your resumes, things like that. They might send you an invitation to chat at a specific time during the event. So if you see that, make sure you act promptly, schedule your invitation. I will say not all of our companies use this feature. So if you don't see a scheduled invite chat prior to the fair, don't panic. A lot of them want to chat just live during the event. But if you do get an invitation, make sure to act really promptly on that. All right, the last thing I will say is hopefully you guys have heard of the elevator pitch. It's essentially just your introduction, right? It's just you telling them, here's who I am, here's my major, here's what I'm interested in. When you're text chatting, you're going to be writing the same information over and over as far as who you are and what your major is and all that good stuff. So a good tip is to just have that in a Word document so you can grab, copy, and paste. Now you'll see here a quick elevator pitch summary. So what you should be writing and copying and pasting is your name, your major, your majors, some of your minors, some of your notable experience. That could be classroom experience, that could be internships, and then what you're seeking, whether that's internship, externship, full-time. Once you copy and paste that, you will need to add a specific question for that company. So that might be, I see that you're hiring for consulting positions. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or, you know, I see that your accounting internship for 2024 is open. I'm really interested. Could you tell me a little bit more? So something specific to that company is what you would want to add at the end to make sure the conversation kind of flows naturally from there. All right, so speaking of chatting during the career fair, we're going to jump into what to do during the actual virtual fair. So you can see here a screenshot of what your chat will look like when you enter in Brazen. This is immediately when you're connected with the first available rep via text chat. A lot of times with a virtual event, it is easy to get distracted. You might have other things close to you. This is, again, a virtual career fair. So we want to make sure that we're being a really good active listener. You're taking notes, you're asking good questions, and you're responding promptly. We don't want a lot of lag time in between when they ask you a question or tell you something and you respond to them. So try to be a really active participant in that conversation. Another thing that I want to talk about as far as the Brazen chat is the timer. So you might be able to see up at the top right corner, there is a timer counting down for your conversation. That time differs based on the traffic in the fair. So it's not always going to be the same amount of time. Your recruiter also has full control over that timer. They can extend, they can end early. They can kind of manipulate to be whatever they want. So this is not the end all be all by any means. Try to just focus on your conversation and make, active listening, good conversation. Don't worry too much about the timer. The only thing I'll say is if you notice that it's getting close to 0, try to be mindful of that. Don't introduce a brand new question or a brand new topic if it's counting down from like 15 seconds. If you want to kind of start to wrap up the conversation naturally, a really good way to do that is to, number one, thank them for their time, and then also ask for contact information. That's a really great way to wrap up gracefully. Just say, thanks so much. I've really enjoyed talking with you. Can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Or do you have an email that you would mind I follow up with you after? So those are good ways to kind of naturally wrap up. All right, speaking of wrapping up, so a couple things we want to keep in mind after the virtual fair. Number one, always make sure you're connecting on LinkedIn. This is such an easy way to kind of close that loop after a good conversation in the career fair. When you connect with someone after a career fair, always send a message with your invitation to thank them for their time at the career fair and to kind of remind them where they might know you from. You may also want to send a thank you email if you have more to address, or if maybe you didn't get their name on or their connection on LinkedIn, you can send a thank you email. You might also have something specific that you want to follow up on in an email. So let's say they asked you to apply to a specific job. You could send an email to say that you applied and you're interested in next steps. So that may be another appropriate time to send an email in addition to LinkedIn. You do want to make sure you're applying to jobs promptly, whether or not they specifically talked about a job. If you just talked about the culture or something like that, you do want to make sure you're applying promptly. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of that great connection that you made at the career fair. So after you've talked with them, apply so that they will recognize that name after the career fair. You also want to complete any follow-up items shared by company reps. This may be an evaluation or a form that they need you to fill out or an event that they want you to attend. Just make sure you're doing all of these items really promptly after the career fair so that they frankly don't forget about your wonderful conversation during the event. You also want to make sure you're monitoring your email and your phone for interview invitations. Couple of things with that, make sure that your voicemail message is professional, nothing crazy happening on your voicemail message. And also make sure that your inbox is not full. That happens a lot where you don't realize that your inbox is full and the recruiter can't leave a message. Unfortunately, sometimes recruiters will just move on if they're not able to leave you a message on the phone. So make sure that you have space for them to let you know about the interview. And then finally, staying connected with companies and connections. Attending future events is the absolute best way you can do this. Companies do keep track of what students are attending, what events. It's one of the first things they're going to look at when they are potentially inviting you in for an interview. So if they're hosting any events at Virginia Tech or just broadly, we strongly recommend continuing to stay engaged and continuing to go to those events. And then finally, engaging with online posts. That's typically LinkedIn. Liking their posts, commenting, whether that's the specific recruiter or the company page, and tagging them if you go to other events. This is all really, really great way to kind of keep your name in the loop and make sure you keep that connection warm. All right, so we are going to switch over to a very brief Brazen demonstration. All right, so because I am already logged in, you guys are going to get a little behind the scenes. You guys can see the screen okay? Okay. So this is the information in the booths. We will go over to registration for students. So this is all of the information that's going to be required from students in order to register and attend the event. You'll see the resume is required, like I mentioned. You'll also be putting in your expected graduation date, your majors, your minors, concentrations if you have them. You can put in your preferred work location, LinkedIn. Anything on this form is fair game. As soon as you enter your registration, a recruiter can search for that. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll search for all accounting majors in, who are seniors, and that's who they want to look at. So they'll send scheduled invites to all of those students, or they'll download resumes for all of those students. So you want to make sure all of this is really accurate, all of this is really up to date, especially your resume. All right, we're going to switch over to the actual lobby for the event. So this is the lobby for the virtual career fair happening on Wednesday. You'll see quite a few of our companies already have their booths set up with awesome information. You'll be able to click into these booths and learn a little bit more about the company. So let's click into Cherry Beckert here. They have a good setup booth. So basically, you'll see in the booth itself, when you go to like an in-person career fair, you know how they have flyers sitting out. This is kind of mirroring that. So they'll have information for you here. They've got some cool videos for you to watch. You can look at their opportunities tab, which is going to include all of the different positions they're hiring for. And then you'll also have like an About Us section or more information about the company and different things that they want to share with you. You'll also see on the right-hand side here are the company reps. So these are all the folks that could be logged in and chatting with you. Now, you do not have a choice of who you chat with. Just keep that in mind. You're going to be connected with the first person available. All the reps are going to be able to answer your questions and talk with you about the company. So just keep that in mind. During the live event, right here above the reps will be a green button that says Chat Now. That's what you're going to click on when you're ready to talk to someone with the company. Keep in mind, again, it's going to connect you via text, but they might invite you to video. So as soon as you click in, make sure you're ready to go to chat via video. Something else I'll mention is you do have the ability to hop in multiple booths and get in multiple lines. We definitely recommend no more than 2 lines. It is kind of an online system, so we've seen some students have glitches before where if they get in too many lines, they glitch and then they're not able to get in any chats. So 2 lines is the perfect amount. If there's one line that's really long, you could jump in one other short line at a time and move through those conversations while you're waiting for that longer line. Another thing to keep in mind, one of the benefits of a virtual fair is that as you're taking notes, as you're talking with folks, Brazen is going to track all of that for you. So you can see on the menu, you have a history tab right here, and that will keep track of everyone you've talked with. It will keep track of the conversation transcripts and all of the notes that you took after the conversation. So right after the conversation wraps, Brazen will bring up a notes tab and you can put in a couple notes right there in the platform before you move on to your next conversation. So this is a really helpful way to track everything. Now, with online things, there's always the potential for glitches. So if there's someone you're really excited about, if there's a company that gave you a name or really important information, do just jot that down, but just know that Brazen has all of this logged for you as well. All right, the last thing I want to show you in the booths is this leave a note feature right here. So if you don't have time to talk to every company that you're excited about, this is a really great feature. So you can click on leave a note. You'll put a little message here, kind of like your elevator pitch is what I would recommend. And then when you hit send, it will send your message along with your resume and your information directly to the main recruiter for the company. So this is a really great feature. If the lines are long or you have to run to class or whatever it may be, you can go ahead and drop a note to companies that you're interested in. All right, so back to the lobby. I want to show you one more thing. We have a career services booth, very similar to the in-person fair if you guys attended that. We want to be available if you guys have questions throughout the event. So you can see you can click in here and get some information just about our team and about how to book an appointment, but we also have representatives who can speak with you during the event, answer any questions that you might have. Maybe you want to practice your elevator pitch or you want to practice a video chat, we can be available for that or whatever you need during the event. All right, last thing I'm going to show you outside of the actual platform is this website right here. So we have put together a lot of our top tips for the virtual career fair on our website. You'll see we have, the attending companies, how to register. We have a Brazen student guide. We also have FAQs down here, as well as some tips, information on booking an appointment if you have questions before the fair. We also have instructional videos for Brazen. So a lot of what I showed you today is kind of in preview mode. We have this playlist here on our YouTube, which basically has videos from a live event. So you can see what's in a booth, you can see a chat. You might also want to see, how to enter company lines or the video chat logistics, since that's not something we can show you with a non-live event. This would be another really great place to browse if you have any questions at all about how Brazen works and kind of how to navigate the fair. Hopping back over to our presentation. All right, so that is pretty much all I have for you guys. This QR code links directly to that webpage I just showed you. So if any of you want to view those videos I pulled up or any of our tips or FAQs, you can scan this QR code. It also is on our website, so you can just look up the Pamplin Career Services website. We're on the Pamplin site. And then we also have our LinkedIn and Instagram here if you guys want to get connected. Final reminder, the career fair is on Wednesday, September 27th, 10 to 2 on Brazen. So we hope to see all of you guys there. All right, and I will stick around for any questions you guys have. Please feel free to throw them in the chat, but thank you all so much for joining.